This is the Untraditional Sports Broadcast. I'm your broadcaster, Ross Michaels, and today's topic is trash. The worst teams in the NFL, the absolute worst. And at number 5, we got the Detroit Lions. Man, I already made a whole video about them. They're not even good enough. They're not good enough to win games, but they're not bad enough to get a good first-round pick out of it. Their offensive line been terrible. I don't even want Stafford out there just in case he gets hurt again. And, man, they fired their coach to get more wins, but then hired a coach that got them less wins. Like, not a whole lot of sense in that. But I'm tired of talking about Detroit Lions. Let's move on to number 4. At number 4, we got the Denver Broncos. Man, Denver, you think since you got Elway running the office, you would be able to get a decent quarterback. Well, that turned out not to be true. Elway hasn't had a decent quarterback since he's been there, besides Peyton Manning, and not even a fully healthy Peyton Manning. A washed-up old man Peyton Manning. Still pretty good. Definitely better than what they have now. Now, Denver didn't even get a sack until week 3. Their defense didn't get a sack until week 3. Like, you can't tell me your defense is good if you can't get a sack at least once a game, if not more. And the sad part is they got a bunch of first-round picks in that defensive line. So I don't know what Denver should really do. And the Denver Broncos are trash. At number 3, we got the Redskins. Man, the Redskins, I hate their name. I hate their owner. I hate their coach, which I won't even worry about that much longer because he's probably going to get fired. And you can't figure out your quarterback situation, even though you just spent a first-round pick on a quarterback. Like, man, I feel bad for any player that goes to the Redskins. Like, and they're, like, the whole thing with a player, if you haven't heard, a player had a head injury, and he kept saying that his head hurt, but the trainers kept saying he was fine. Turns out he had cancer. And then when they wouldn't even pay off the rest of his contract, even though he almost died because the Redskins trainers kept trying to put him out there, even though, I don't think the trainers thought he had cancer, but that tells you a lot that they just did not care about his well-being and only focused on getting him back out there. And the Redskins are a terrible organization. I'm glad they're this bad. I wish they were number 1, but I can't, in honest good conscience, put them at number 1 because there are worse teams out there. Maybe not morally, but definitely in how well they play. Before I blow an aneurysm, let's just go to the point. The Redskins are trash. Next, we're going to go to number 2. And this is, man, it kind of hurts my stomach, like, really badly to talk about this team. Like, oof. I throw up a little bit in my mouth when I talk about the number 2 worst team in the NFL, and that is the Miami Dolphins. Ooh, they can't even do bad right. Like, they were trying to tank, and they can't even do that right. They're not even the worst team when they're trying to be the worst team. Like, they got rid of all their good talent, and they still can't do that. They still can't lose. Like, they still won 2 games even if they are trying to lose. And they are just terrible. And the Dolphins just make me want to... Sorry, I had to get that out of my system because, man, talking about the Dolphins too much just makes you want to puke. And I'm just going to move on so that doesn't happen again. Let's just get to the bottom line. The Dolphins are trash. moving on to the number one spot, the team that's absolute trash, the team that I wouldn't even try to compare to other teams because that's an insult to teams that are trash. They're below trash, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals. I forget where Cincinnati is half the time. They're in Ohio somewhere, but I forget that sometimes. I am right next to Ohio. Like, they are just so bad. I don't even know what their uniforms are so ugly. I get the stripes because they're the Bengals, and I guess Bengals have stripes. I don't know. I really don't even know what a Bengal is, to be quite honest. Maybe I'm just dumb, but man, like, even their name sucks. Where their town is suck, and man, they can't figure out anything. I know Andy Dalton's not their starting quarterback anymore, but it kind of fits them because they're like the redheaded stepchild of the NFL. Like, you forget about them, you forget they're there, but when you remember they're there, it's never for a good thing. And man, they just can't do anything right. Currently, they're 0-10, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go 0-16 to join the other two teams that didn't win a game for a whole season with the Lions and Browns. What a club to be a part of. And the Cincinnati Bengals are trash. So that was the top 5 most terrible, just awful teams. But know what's not awful? Helping out in your local community, helping out at a homeless shelter. There's one nearby. Just helping out people. That's not a terrible thing to do. Unlike watching these teams, that is a terrible thing to do. It should be a high crime. But helping people, that's a good thing. So let's do a little bit more good in this. Let's put some more good in this world. Not like how these teams have. Not how these teams. I'm sorry, I just can't speak. But yeah, just put some more help out in the world. Like, man, like, I just want some more good in the world after talking about these awful teams. And I'll see you next week.